Hello, I'm Nightmare, and welcome back to The Letter. So we left off with Hannah getting ready for her housewarming party, and she was talking with Marianne about her relationship. She really wasn't meaning to. Well, she was, but she was trying to play it off as a different couple. You know how we do that. So she's looking for some advice from Marianne. Marianne gave her advice, and we went on our way. Sorry it's been a couple days since I've gotten some videos out. I've been extremely busy, so I haven't had time to do much, and I'm sorry about that. I'm going to try and get back on my daily schedule as I was, and I'm going to start doing live streams weekly, hopefully, if everything works out, starting, I think, Thursday. Alright, let's get into this. Enough of my rambling. Let's do this. The scene outside the parlor is a great organized mess. Aside from our own household help, we hired the service of a temp agency which provides staff for Wright Enterprise in the hospitality sector. Even our own very skilled staff cannot undertake a party of this size on their own. Waiters, busboys, hostesses, and their staff captains move about in droves, carrying crockery and silverware. Excuse me, I was going to say silverware. Same difference. Serveware good for several dozen people and then some. Chefs and bartenders tell after Johannes, looking like scared little children, as he escorts them through the kitchen and into the wine cellar. Ooh, we know what goes on in that wine cellar. To peruse the stocks to select what can be served at the party and what can be used for cooking.
No! We have a lot to do, and I believe we did not hire snails. Snails are for the dishes.
Ew. A string quartet readies up to play for the evening, tuning their instruments as they fill the air with idle chatter. Floral decor worth thousands fill vases, wreaths and baskets, while petals are scattered along the driveway up front. Scattered. An ice sculpture of a reindeer is brought in carefully by a pair. Alright. Well, I see the ice sculpture, but it did not describe this delicious looking cake served on a gold platter. That looks yummy. It is followed by a simple cake, just a 5-tier white chiffon, one with white chocolate mousse, fresh berries, and a light dusting of edible gold leaf. Oh my God, that cake probably cost more than my house. But despite the fact that I told Marianne how I will attend to all this, I find myself unable to focus or care for any of it. I still have our discussion running in my mind, and looking at all of this, I only see Luke everywhere. These are all the grand things that Luke wanted to have for our party. I had wanted a small, elegant, and simple gathering with only a select few invited, namely the people who I would actually trust to enter my home. I did not want any bloody politicians or paparazzi in here, no matter how used I am to them, or to catering to them.
At least be here for your party. Damn it, Luke.
The entire thing screamed Luke Wright. And I can't help but add another question to my growing list of queries. When did I lose myself? It's always about him nowadays, isn't it? What about Hannah Wright? What about Hannah Evans? I used to be my own woman who made her own name, her own career, and had her own decisions. Sure, I was already a social butterfly that I still am today, but it wasn't all empty, shallow gossip and sitting pretty. I was also lauded for my knowledge and talent. Hello? Finance manager wasn't just handed to me just because my father owned the company. I had insisted that I start at the bottom so I could work my way to the top and prove myself. Well, very good of you, Hannah. And I did. I worked numbers, managed budgets, money and accounts, analyzing the competition and marketing trends. There was a calculation of financial risk, cost reduction opportunities, auditor liaison, and public relations supervision of staff, and, well, I generally had a huge slew of responsibilities. Admittedly, I was already quite the attention seeker even back then, having dedicated most of my youth to craving for my parents' approval. Failing that, I turned to others, looked for praise from anyone who would give it to me, however fleeting it all was. And Luke, oh Luke, the way he looked at me, the way he watched me and took a genuine interest. He had me disgustingly obsessed since day one, hasn't he? He saw me for me, Hannah Evans, with both my faults and achievements. The man didn't treat me like some damsel in distress or some prize to be won. I remember the nights before we were married where we talked about everything and anything. From big things like businesses, society, and philosophy to little things such as what we had for breakfast or whether we'd like cats or dogs more. We both prefer dogs. Nowadays, I'm just Luke Wright's wife. It's mostly my fault, isn't it? They told me that husbands preferred wives who were docile and subordinate. A woman who will always be there for him, yet would never outshine him in all aspects except beauty. A wife needs to be at home, attend to his needs, to have children, and take care of them in absence. They said I have no business working anymore after I was married. I can blame society. But I listened. Before I can fall further into this introspective pit of self-loathing, someone calls for my attention.
The guests have arrived, madam.
And Luke?
Running a bit late, I'm afraid.
Imagine that.
Late for his own party. That man, I swear. He's probably looking to make a dramatic entrance, knowing him. Open the doors, then. We mustn't tarry.
Cars line up the driveway, peppering the front of the mansion with vehicles of every kind. Grand tourers, supercars, even the odd high-end muscle car or two. Convertibles, grand saloons, and other luxury cars can be seen, being parked by valets. A handful of cabs, I almost said crabs. A handful of crabs. A handful of cabs drive off, possibly for those who thought it was too troublesome to bring their own cars. There are at least 2 different media vans as well. They're all here for what may be considered the biggest event of the year for Luxborn. So far. Who knows what we'll plan for the winter holidays?
Welcome, welcome everyone. Please make yourselves at home.
Some of the guests idle, enjoying the warm, if not strange, sunshine we are experiencing before the gloomy skies inevitably turn. They greet acquaintances and friends with warm smiles, others less so. From where I stand, I can see the hierarchy of power, the ties that bind these individuals here, whether through convenience or necessity. However, there are a few who are not here to further cement their current place in high society. Such as that young man with his oriental air, ignorant of the looks he receives from women and men alike.
Be careful with Shirley, all right?
Or that rose-haired woman talking on the phone while she looks unsure why she is here exactly.
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom. Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
I see Zachary, the photographer, as well. He talks to a few of the media crew with an air of familiarity.
I was just here a few days ago, yeah. And the inside is huge, but the staff are pretty helpful if you get lost.
I had invited Father Norman, too. It's the least I can do after he blessed the mansion on my request, aside from my small donation to the church, of course. But the poor man had taken ill and went through a nervous breakdown of some sort the other day. I wonder why he was in this mansion. And then there are the people like the chief inspector. People who I can never be too sure about. People who stand on the border between being suspicious and being trustworthy.
Thank you for the invite, Anna.
Thank you for the invite, Hannah.
Husband still missing, I see?
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee. The doctors again?
She told me she'll just be in the gardens. Bet she's lying and that she's somewhere around mingling, gossiping with the other ladies. It's no offense, but that seems to be all you ladies do at these parties.
Is that right, Officer Lee?
And aren't you gossiping right now?
Yes.
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing. Don't tell me, let me guess. He's finally drunken himself to death and not wanting a scandal, you've hidden his body. I was wanting to give this housewarming gift to him personally, too. It's a plate that holds a wine glass so he can stop killing himself with liquid lunches. Looks like it's too late for that.
Nothing like that. Besides, this is a hardly polite conversation.
I agree, Hannah.
Oh, relax. I'm just trying to be cheeky to lighten the mood. It's not like I want Luke dead. The man doesn't serve dodgy plonk like the others when I visit, and he pays his respects well enough. I could use a glass of wine or 3, actually.
Me too. I'd like to have some more chocolate wine.
Rochelle's been in a horrid mood. Threw her stilettos at me the other day and almost took an eye out. Not sure if this is how it usually goes, but I blame the pregnancy.
I wouldn't know, would I?
Still no plans for a baby?
Unfortunately, no. Luke is a butthole.
I guess that's for the best. If it's this bad now, I can't even imagine how bad it'll be when that little baby bump becomes huge.
Have I mentioned how I don't trust him no matter how hard I try to do so? At least he brought a gift, I suppose.
Why don't you just go inside and have some wine, Lee?
Think I will, thanks.
Greetings such as these carry on as the guests continue to trickle in. Whether we have short conversations or merely shake hands and nod heads, I make sure to attend and welcome each of them. As the first hour pass us by, the rest of the stragglers and I adjourn to the ballroom. Any latecomers will have the attention of the porter instead. I have other duties to attend to now. Hosting parties is always the same old song and dance, no matter how big or small it is. You make sure your guests are well fed, have good company, and have them generally enjoy themselves. So when my opening remarks are done, when the band has started to play and the guests have started eating, I find myself wandering around aimlessly unless I am pulled aside. For a while, I stay with a small group and entertain them before excusing myself. And when they're not watching me anymore, I end up watching them. When they don't listen, I do. A local banker is having trouble with his daughter. He wishes to marry her off, but she wants nothing more but to make music. One of our hotel managers worry about stolen belongings of his patrons, but failing in security, which should be brought up to a higher authority soon. Our mayor, well, his cat died. Then there is that rose-haired woman once again. It is hard not to notice her with her distinctive locks. She also lacks the grace that the other ladies have, though that does not make her any less beautiful. Her stance and the air exudes instead are strong, and they make her stand out despite her casual attire. Many men have already given her their attention, though each invitation to dance has been turned down. I approach, intrigued, although it's not a great mystery what occupies her own attention, with the glances she keeps sending towards the boy with oriental hair. She remains unaware, though, even as I stand beside her, pretending that I am there for a drink.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Ooh, that's kind of a jab, isn't it?
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Oh, you're fine, dearie. It's only really the parvenus, those who climb, that come to these parties all dolled up. Quite the black-haired beauty, isn't he?
The boy comes over, but I do nothing to speak any softer. He merely passes by, as it is a wonder he doesn't hear what I say.
Who, Ash?
You know, you really shouldn't have turned down those offers. If I wasn't married, I'd happily go dancing with those young men. But you said a name. Ash. That's the exquisite lad you've been looking at all this time.
Oh, poor Isabella and Rose are in a love triangle, to say the least.
I don't know him, and I'm the one hosting this party. That must mean you know each other. Is he your boyfriend then? Because that would explain those rejections.
That's a cool picture. The art's really good in this game, I have to give it that. But I like anime, so... In all my life, I have never seen a face grow red so fast. The shade of her hair did not help as well. This is the most pink I've seen on a person, really.
What? No, that's ridiculous. He isn't my boyfriend.
Such a violent reaction. A simple no would have sufficed. Many here would be happy to hear it.
And I haven't been looking at him.
That's right. You've been staring. Quite heatedly, in fact. Although I'm not sure if you look like you want to kiss him or kill him.
It's more the latter currently.
Just don't go murdering him on my property. I don't want to walk into a room and suddenly find a body there.
You're probably gonna do that anyway. A demon lady. Just saying. I waver as I feel the burning of someone's stares. It is chilling, and though I'm used to the enduring gaze of others, this one makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Speaking of demon lady, I think we have found her. Yeah, there she is. Ooh. I'm pausing so you guys can hear the whispers. My attention is pulled from the girl, and I see a woman staring. Dark-haired and dirty, she looks more like a beggar than a guest, and I have the half mind to call security at her when her mouth breaks out into a grin. All I hear is her laughing, taunting. Her stare makes my blood run cold. She looks at me like I'm nothing but a pig to slaughter for her amusement. It makes my hand shake and I nearly drop my drink. But then in a blink she is gone, and the buzz of the party returns.
I'll keep that in mind, but are you all right?
Yes, sorry. I just thought I saw something strange. It must be the trick of the light. Anyway, on a right, as you must already know.
Rebecca Gales.
Gales.
The name is familiar like a fond memory. I recall a kind lady, a private tutor who treated me like her own daughter when I was young. She'd even bring me food when there was no need to do so. Usually stovies, which I honestly haven't been too keen about, though I ate them nonetheless because she brought them for me.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way. But yeah, that's me. Little Becky. We met once before.
Yes, oh, I remember you! You were the cutest little thing with glasses! And when we met, you were having boy troubles with this lad called something with an A.
Ash?
What was it again? Aaron, Alan, Adele, Albert, Alexander, Andrew?
The more I list off names, the more red and the more quiet Becky gets. She starts to look a bit miserable as her body language shows discomfort and stiffness. Perhaps I've triggered a horrid childhood memory. Surely I hadn't been mean when she had visited with her mother. I don't quite remember all of it.
Ashton! Ash! That man is that boy! The same one. Oh, goodness me, after all these years! I can see why, though. He's quite dashing.
You don't really need to announce it to everyone within earshot, you know? Keep it down.
Aw.
I'm so sorry, but it really is cute.
And a tad bit sad.
So, this is a nice party, Miss Wright.
Please, Anna's fine. We're friends of a sort, aren't we? We must be friends, seeing as I know about your little infatuation, Becky. Don't you worry, dearie. You'll have your happy ending yet.
I don't think so.
I'm not too concerned about that, am I? That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh? And what makes you think that? Doesn't everybody want their happy ending?
The idea of happy endings sounds like they're just for fairy tales. And they are, sorta. I don't think you can just sit around, trapped in some tower and hope for the best. If you love them, you have to fight for it, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
You're not just going to sit there and hope that everything will just fix itself on its own. Like everything, You have to work at it.
I think she's gonna strike a nerve here in a second.
But what do I know?
There is a grimace, although she starts to relax around my presence. How long has it been since we met as children? Certainly a long time. She was tiny back then, if I recall correctly.
I'm sure the daughter of the two greatest professors I've ever known is smart enough to know what she's talking about. But have you told him how you feel? And it's been what? 20 years?
17, actually. But no, not yet. He can be a bit dense. I was hoping that maybe he'd notice on his own and...
Well, that won't do. What if you two become husband and wife? He's not to be dense when he's sworn himself to another person. Why, you might just as well consider leaving before the day's even begun.
If that happens, I'll have to give him a good ear bashing, won't I? Whoever anyone ends up with, it's not going to be a perfect relationship anyway. There's going to be things you'll love and things you'll hate about the other person. We're just humans.
Yep.
It's funny. Here I am, trying to give you advice when you did the very same thing back then. I remember you giving me a makeover when we were still kids. And you were the first I told anyone about my... crush.
I do remember now that she mentions it. Did I give her that yellow summer dress or the pink blouse and petticoat? She must have kept some of what I said in mind. It feels ridiculous remembering all of that years later, talking about boys and how they'd go crazy for pretty girls, as if it's some gospel every woman should adhere to. It was so easy to say such things then, with me not knowing any better. Though looking at her now, she must have kept some of what I said in mind. Perhaps I did say something good at that time, enough for her to take it to heart. But all that didn't matter in the moment as I mull over what she just said in my head. I knew it'd strike a nerve with us. What Becky told me is very different from what Marianne told me. There is no time to ponder over that, however, as a hush descends upon the once lively crowd. The music of string... That was a door. The music of strings and the chatter slows to a grinding halt as the doors from the foyer open. The last of the latecomers should have arrived moments ago, and anyone else this late would simply be too embarrassed to show their face. So this can be only one person, or rather, one man. There is only one man who is audacious enough to arrive at his own party so late.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party? I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the right mansion.
And like I, who is raised in the spotlight and simply grew used to its presence, he sought it out every chance he could, even when there is no spotlight that shone. And I'll never put it against him when he smiles like that. He did so quite brilliantly under the scrutiny when he channels his showmanship. You can tell by the way people's eyes light up as he speaks, how they listen enraptured even if all he's doing is a simple greeting. A little wave of his hands here and a smile there and a bit of swagger. I always tell him that if he is not to be a businessman, he'll do well as an entertainer. I love this side of him, especially when he looks at me and beckons me over to humbly share his place. Not a single second is wasted as I excuse myself from Becky's side and make my way over to Luke's.
Welcome one and all to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are our ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness.
Wow.
So enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone.
There is a round of applause, cheers, and even some hoots. Guests approach us left and right to shake Luke's hand and greet him personally, praises on their lips. It has become of this that I do not see her. I do not see her until she is dangerously close. With fury in her eyes, she's already spitting venom. Who? Who is this? Johans restrains her, taking care not to unnecessarily harm the pregnant woman. But that does little to deter her rage, and the man has no choice but to let her go, lest an unborn child is hurt. Although it might be too late for that, as I see an empty glass of wine in her hand. How much is she imbibed in?
Rochelle.
Oh, it's Rochelle.
Perhaps you need to sit down and...
No! Shut it, you munter! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here!
Ooh.
You bloody bastard standing there with your smarmy smile!
She interrupts me, jabbing her finger in my direction before she rounds on Luke. Even as whispers and murmurs break out among the guests, all I can focus on is the heat of the moment. Obviously intoxicated, judging by the smell of alcohol on her breath. I'm not ticked off about this little display of hers, at least not yet. But I'm absolutely pissed by the fact that she's endangered her own baby by drinking. There is a considerable amount of restraint and grace that I must exercise while I wait for her tantrum to subside. I keep a patient, if tight, smile on my face. Luke's expression, on the other hand, is indecipherable.
Watch your tongue! You're on thin ice, Rochelle. Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
Ooh.
I did.
And I told you with great emphasis not to. Now we have a drunk, hormonal, pregnant woman causing a stir. What is even going on?
I am just about to ask the exact same
I
thing.
don't know. But Rochelle, do calm down before you hurt yourself. I can't understand a word you're saying.
Where is that husband of yours? Lee! Collect your wife right now!
Don't you fucking talk like I'm not here and you're not responsible, you ass!
What?
You told me that I should wait for you in the gardens!
Uh-oh.
Excuse me. What is this nonsense you're going on about?
Crazy talk! That's all it is! Just completely and utterly mad! Has anyone seen the Chief Inspector?
I am pregnant with your little bastard! You promised me you'll take responsibility.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
God damn it, Luke! I finally got you to talk to me after months of silence, and you do this to me!
Oh my god. What? What?
What do you mean you're pregnant with? Luke, is this true?
Lies and slander, woman! Security! Johans, take her out of here before she makes an even bigger fool of herself!
No, you do not do this to me! I was so ready to leave my stupid oaf of a husband. I told you to leave that damn wife of yours.
Oh my god. Wow.
Look at her. Does she look like she wants a baby?
Yes. Yes, she does.
Does she look like she could take care of a baby?
Yes. I think she would be a better mother than you. Wow. It is now that Johans returns with security along with a concerned-looking Officer Lee. They surround her and move to escort the hysterical woman. Judging by his pale face, he has heard the whole thing, and I feel nothing but pity for the man.
I'm so sorry for her behavior. She's been under a lot of stress. And the alcohol. Talking nonsense, that's all it is. You're not allowed to drink because of the baby, Shelley. What are you thinking?
Nothing to see here, people. Move along.
Is there really nothing here but the ramblings of a drunk? Yes, that's right. There's no way what Rochelle says is the truth. What she says doesn't match up. I know Luke. If such a scandalous meeting are to be arranged, he won't do it in such an exposed place, especially not near his precious flowers. And he definitely won't promise responsibility over a child unless it can be helped. Besides, Luke will never go as far as to sleep with another woman, right? Okay, fine, who am I kidding? If I'm to be completely honest with myself, he might cheat. With a bit of temptation and a bit of alcohol, he just might. And doesn't that just make my blood boil to think of even the slightest possibility of infidelity? Lee isn't too far off when he told me how Luke still acted like some young hotshot bachelor. It starts to make me think. Alright, perhaps a break is needed, or I need to work for my happy ending. See, if I found out... I don't know. If I found out this was true... I would probably be done with him. Completely done with him, no matter how much money they've got. No matter, I would be done. Because just because you're drunk and temptation's there isn't an excuse. I'm sorry. So, but what in this situation should we do? I think I'm gonna go with I need to work for my happy ending. It takes two to tango. That boosted him up. So that was apparently a good choice. And I know we've got some journal entries here we'll hit real quick. The Wright Mansion officially opened its doors with a grand housewarming feast. Zachary Still, Ashton Frey, Rebecca Gales were seen attending. However, what was supposed to be a day of merriment turned sour when Rochelle Lee, the chief inspector's wife, accused Luke of fathering her unborn child. Becky's words are still fresh in my mind, and I can't help but think that the girl, plucky woman that she is, has a point. If I love Luke, I'll have to fight for him, don't I? So far, I've been doing nothing but sitting on my behind, hoping it'll fix itself. This whole mess definitely isn't going to fix itself. How dare that woman try to drag our name and our relationship through the mud with her lies? And at my own party, determination fires me up as I take a step forward into the middle of the fray. All the while, she has been screaming. I signal for security to stop, and I can already feel the glower on my face as I stare into hers. She wilts as soon as she sees me. She starts to grow anxious as her protests die down. I can see as her haughty, angry expression turns into a horrified realization. Rightfully so, she should be scared. What is that thing they say again? Never wake a sleeping dragon? They often think that Luke is the one in charge, that he is the one to be feared and appeased. They think of me only as the pretty wife. They forget that I am just as capable, just as worthy of respect.
I invite you, my friend, into my house on a day of merriment, and you insult my name and accuse my husband of infidelity. What have I ever done to make you treat us with such disrespect? You are no longer welcome in any of our estates, our properties, and our businesses. And we will no longer patronize yours. Now, escort the girl and make sure she isn't standing even an inch within our grounds.
She looks devastated. Reasonable. This does make her into a pariah, doesn't it? I should feel concerned, but I can't find even an inkling of mercy within me. I don't know what her plan was. I don't know what she wanted to make out of this. The money? Luke? It doesn't matter what she wanted.
You won't show your face to me ever again if you know what is good for you, Rochelle. Take her away.
The tension is thick in the air, and the silence that embraces the room is so set that one can practically hear a pin drop. There are worried and almost fearful glances from some of the guests, but they all know this is well within my right. She is the one who started this whole dilemma. It just so happens that I'm the one ending it. As long as everyone hold their tongue and don't interfere, none of their consequences matter to me. Especially when my darling looks at me with different shine in his eyes. It almost seems as if he's proud of what I've done, and that spurs me on more than anything. Nonetheless, I still act upset because this does not change what just happened. He still has a lot to answer to. Because even if the woman is lying, there is an inkling of truth in every lie. So when I turn on him, to say that the shock he displays brings me gratification is an understatement. Of course, there is no reason to make a husband and wife spat into a public spectacle. Some privacy will generate the least number of headaches and complications. Everyone is still far too busy in the ballroom, and most of the staff are in the kitchen. A sharp glance at anyone who will go through the doors is all it takes to make them retreat. I'm going to cut this episode here. If you like it, hit the like button. Leave me some comments if you want to. Check out my other videos. Be nice to one another. And we'll meet in the next episode. See you guys.